Hello, beautiful people. Hello, and welcome to Ignited Tea. I hope you have your teacups. I hope you're ready. I have mine just made it. So, as you know, let me just check our technology here and make sure we're good. Can you hear me? If you can, if you're here and I'm just blah blah blah, but you don't see anything happening or you don't hear anything, let me know. Looks like we're all good here. I think this is the last time I'm going to have to check this. I have done lives before and I've gone the entire time and realized that no one could hear anything. So I just like to double check that you can hear me before I get started because that's the worst. And if you're here live, thank you so much. If you're tuning into the replay, welcome and thank you for being here. We've got good things we're going to talk about today, you guys. Really good things. So let me just check here that you can hear me. If you're on and you can't hear me, just throw something in the chat and say, no, crazy, we can't hear you. Just want to check this and double. Okay, we are here. All is well, looking good. Okay. So thank you so much again for being here. I am Rhonda Kennard, your Ignited Fiery Life Coach, and we've got a good topic today. Today, we are talking about owning your results before you have them. Owning your results before you have them. And if you saw one of the ads floating around or one of my posts, then if you're not owning results, you're window shopping, right? If you're not owning your results, you're window shopping. And so we're going to talk about that today. Okay. So grab your seat, grab your tea. I'm going to take a sip of this. It's really hot, so it's going to be a quick sip. But it helps me with all the talking and then the energy. Sometimes these get a little heated and hot, and I need some energy for all of this. So, 1 second here while we let a couple more people hop on. That is so good. This one's blueberry and raspberry. Okay, so I'm ready to jump right in, guys. I hope you are too. Now, I will be checking the chat, so go ahead and feel free to interact in the chat. Also, there's a lag as well. So you may type something and say, oh, she's ignoring it. Absolutely not ignoring it. The only ones I'll ignore are ones that are just not relevant to the conversation if we have some trolls come in. But just know that there's a lag. So if you put something there, just give me a second for it to pop up and then me to see it, okay? And I also take it down for some parts because I don't want to get distracted the entire time. All right, so owning results before you have them. I decided that this is something I wanted to share with you guys because a lot of my successes have come from owning the result before I had it. And not just me, this is something that, it's people who are very successful. We're going to talk about how to own your results before you have them. But a little bit of a spoiler alert, there are ways or mindsets that successful people have that they already knew something was destined for them before they saw it, before they knew it, they had any clue. And I can relate to that. For people also, if you think about people who get into like coaching relationships, you're getting into that relationship because you want to own a result before you get there. And that really is the difference in a nutshell between successful people and people who are window shopping, right? Lurking around Facebook and Instagram. Ooh, what they doing over here? Ooh, I want some of that. I want to lose weight too. Oh, wait, I want a book, right? And then you go and you do a little research, mess around a little bit, but you're never fully committed to the things you desire to have. There are reasons why you are not fully committed to the things you desire to have. And my prayer today is that this hits the ears of someone who is holding back on all of the beauty, all of the brilliance, all of the boldness, the courage, the talents and gifts that they have because they are too afraid to push forward. I hope that one person, I need that one person to hear this message today and get fruit from this message and take that and stop these ways of just limiting your own success because you won't own your results. And there are reasons, valid reasons why you are standing back, watching everybody else. You might go to the mall looking through the window. Oh, that looks so nice. Oh my gosh, right? And sometimes get a little discouraged because of that, looking and peering and looking what everybody else is doing. But my message for you today, whoever you are, is very simple. You can own your results. You do not have to know the how. You need to know the why, but you don't have to know the how. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You don't have to have resources. Now, this is my testimony now. You don't have to have resources, money, support, a cheering squad, BFFs. Listen, what is for you is for you. And it's important that you walk away from this message today. I know this message is for one person today. I want you to understand that you can have everything you want. There's a couple things that are standing in your way, and we're going to talk about them today. So, as you know, I like to give a couple of definitions to make sure we are all on the same page. So, I'm just checking the chat. Make sure no one's saying anything, so I don't want to ignore anyone if you do. Okay, so the first thing I want to give you two definitions here, right? To own something. So to own something means that it belongs to you. So when I say own your results, what I'm saying is that you've already taken possession of the result before it even happens. That sounds really crazy, right? Like, I don't see it. There's no indication from anywhere, anybody, that I can pursue this thing and be successful. But you want me to own it, Rhonda? That sounds crazy. And the crazier it sounds, the more accurate it is. So let me just tell you, one of my earlier experiences of owning my results. So I was an intern at SunGuard Trading and Risk, and I'll even take you back a few years before that. I'll tell you the juicy part of the story, but this is a whole nother live. I had actually been suspended from Hampton University, and I came back home, and I could have gone back in September. I decided I did not want to go back. I should have never left for college. And I wasn't ready. And I owned that I wasn't ready, right? That came from self-reflection and looking back at everything silly that escalated that caused me to have all F's, do stupid things, and ultimately get suspended. So while I was home, I decided I want to stay here. I enrolled at Temple University, and then I was about my business. Like, I was not playing games. Like, I was like, I never want to be in that situation again. So I'm just moving forward with a new mindset. So I started classes, was very focused. In the meantime, went over to career services and I applied for an internship. About a week later, I get a call for this internship. I go in and they hire me as an intern. Well, fast forward, while I was there were some changes in my family structure. And I was just like, I really need to have my own place. So the man I was dating at the time said, you should buy a house because um, a house mortgage is cheaper than rent and you have a whole house. And I was like, that makes sense. But like, I don't even really have a job. But it makes sense. So you're right. I'm going to try to get a house. So at the time, I was an intern at SunGuard Trading and Risk. And after the internship, I would just go back to going to school full time during the day. In the meantime, though, I'm like, I can't even live well or happy or free because of just so much turmoil in my home. I had a couple relatives who were drug addicts and on drugs and alcohol, and it was just crazy place to live. So I needed to get out of there. So I'm looking for these houses, and I come in contact with a mortgage guy named John Cones. He's like, and he's still doing mortgages today. So he says, Mrs. Coleman, that was my maiden name, Mrs. Coleman, you don't even have a job. And I said, I'll have a job. I'll have a job. And then he says, but that's not good enough. Like, banks don't want to hear that you're going to have a job. You need income. So the man I was dating at the time says, okay, well, I'm going to help her with the mortgage. I'm not going to be on it. But this was at a time, this was back in 1996, when you could actually write letters to lenders and they would take things into consideration. It was a lot more personable and personal than it is now. So I write this, he writes this letter. Look, I'm going to support her. Now we're not married. This is someone I'm dating who just believes I should have a house and not an apartment. But I'm going to own that you're right. I should have a house. I should be investing. I've made some financial mistakes already, came out of college with bad credit. This is an opportunity. I see it. I see myself in a house. You're right. I'm moving in this direction. So we end up going through that process. I get the mortgage. I buy the house. In the meantime, I'm still an intern. Okay. Let me tell you something. On April 1st, 1997, the owner of the software company pulls me in his office and he says, Rhonda, you have done such an amazing job here. And like I just told you, I was about my business. After my fall, when I got up, let me tell you, I don't like falling. So I'm like a quick learner. Once I screw up once, get best believe that will not happen again. So I get up and I'm, moving forward, and it shows in everything I do. I'm a level of excellence in everything I do. So I get, anyway, he calls me in the office and he says, listen, you have done an amazing job, and I'm going to do something we have never, ever done before. How would you like to work here as a full-time employee? Hey, what? Oh my goodness, right? Understand, I'm like 21. I do not have my college degree. Everybody in the office does, except for me, right? I'm working with grandmoms and pop pops and people my age now that I thought were so old back then. But I'm like, yes, I would love to work here. So there it is. I start working and I have a full time job, and he offered me that about 3 days before my internship was up. Now, the other amazing part of that story is this man that I was dating who signed the paper, not the mortgage, but simply just signed the document saying, hey, I love this woman. I'm never going to let her fail. Well, he put a ring on it eventually, and he is my husband today. And we have two beautiful children and a wonderful life. He's a pain, don't get me wrong. But we have a wonderful life together. And so when I talk to you about owning your results before you have them, that's what I'm talking about, because it's the ownership before you have something, seeing yourself with it, knowing that you're supposed to have it, believing it to be for you. That's the push, right? That's the push. As opposed to window shopping, where you always have the option of walking away. You always have the option to say, I see it. It looks good. Oh, let me try that on. I see it. Oh, the necklace. Oh, the jacket. Oh, feels good. Look at the price tag. Put that back on the rack. You always have the option to walk away. And that's why window shopping is not good when you are trying to achieve your goals. And that's why some of you now are not committed. I'm going to lose weight. I need to lose weight. My doctor said if I don't lose weight, I'm going to have a real diabetes problem. I'm going to have a real blood pressure issue. You've heard me talk about it. I lost a portion of my eyesight in my right eye because of hypertension, right? So these are things that we know, but yet it's like I'm not really committed, right? I can always walk away. So, my question to you in this moment, if you're watching live, if you're watching the replay, I want you to answer. If you feel comfortable putting it in the chat, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But I want you to answer this question for yourself. Are you owning your results now? Who you want to be 6 months from now, 90 days from now, a year from now, next year, this time, January 22nd, next year? Who do you want to be? And are you owning that? Which means, are you owning the responsibility? Are you owning the action? Are you owning the push? Pushing past the point where you normally stop. Are you owning that? Or are you simply looking around, perusing, staring through the glass? And at any moment, when it's no longer fun, when it starts to rain, it gets cloudy, it looks a little expensive, it looks like too much work, you can walk away. Are you window shopping, or are you owning your results? Whole lot of people are window shopping. And so let's talk about why people are window shopping. I'm going to get into some nitty gritty here, and I might step on some toes. And just know, if I'm stepping on your toes, it is just a message being sent. I'm pouring into you, and you needed to hear this. And if you know somebody who's window shopping and they desperately like their life, their business, their career, their family, their livelihood depends on it, make sure you forward and share this, because afterwards the replay will be on the same link. Someone needs to hear this. And if you think a friend of yours or a coworker or a colleague can hear this, and you know they're going through something and they're not fully committed and they need to be, share this message with them so that it can transform some of their mindset and help them move forward into owning their results. Okay, so why do we window shop? Okay, I have 5 reasons here. And if you think of something else, feel free to share it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, put it in the comments. I'll see it, and let's have some talk about it. So the first thing, why don't we own? I'm not going to say why we window shop. I want to address why we don't own our results. Why we create a goal and then we don't stick to it, right? Why do we say we know we need to do certain things, or we want, I just want to have more abundance of something, right? I know I need to stop stressing so much. I know I need to eat better. I want to write this book. I have a word in me, a message, and then we don't do it. Like, why don't we own it? Why do we feel like we always have the option to walk away from it? What is that thing that, pulls us to walk away? Well, number one, no proof. No proof. Prime example of that would be where we talked about, thank you for that thumbs up. One of the things we talked about already is like the house situation. Now, let me go further, because when I tell you my life is full of, I don't know how, let me tell you, favor and faith and forward motion. That's all I can attribute to some of my stuff. Okay. Now, I told you I got this house, and I, just got this job. And let me also say that the man that I eventually married, my husband now, he didn't have money. I didn't have money. So when I moved, there was no furniture. There was no refrigerator, nothing. I had some old furniture, hand-me-down furniture that my neighbors had given me for college. And it was like this mauve, ugly color chaise lounge and a love seat. That's it. No bed frame. We had one mattress. You know how you're supposed to have the 2 mattresses, box spring, none of that. Headboards, none of that. Dressers, none of that. No dining room set, no nothing. My now husband's mother went to the dollar store and bought all of our dishes. And oh my gosh, she bought us this cheap pot. The handle broke while my husband was frying chicken. It fell on his foot. Listen, I have stories when I tell you, okay? Started from the bottom, now we here. This is a true story. But anyway, no furniture, no refrigerator. So what we were using for a refrigerator was a cooler. And they wasn't even as fancy as they make now. But if you go out to a picnic or to the park and you have the long cooler and you put the ice in and put your food in it, that's what we were using for a refrigerator. With no idea when we would get one, right? Just have to deal with this, because when you have vision, these things are minor. I don't have a refrigerator. I'm not starving. I will figure it out. I will have a cooler. If I have to go buy ice every day from the ShopRite, that's what I have to do. And that's what was happening. But in the meantime, yeah, we're using this thing, and you can't put so much in it. So I didn't have a lot of food, didn't have a lot of money for a lot of food. So it didn't really matter, right? But I had foundation. I had a place to lay my head with my name on it. Okay. So in the meantime, I did start getting frustrated one particular day when I had this cooler, because I put some like sauce in the cooler, but the ice melted. Like, this was the ice and this was the container with the hot sauce. But overnight the ice shifted and the container slid to the side, and so all the ice had the hot sauce in it. It was a whole mess. And I remember feeling very frustrated, like, this, now that really annoyed me and frustrated me a bit. The very same day that annoyed and frustrated me, I go to the mailbox. There's a letter there from the title company. Well, a piece of mail from the title company. I open it up, and the title company says, you paid too much at settlement, right? I paid too much in escrow, and here's your refund. It was $800. You know what we did with that check? Cash that thing, and then went right on to Sears and got a black refrigerator, because back then it was before stainless steel. I'm getting all excited thinking about it. So if you had a black refrigerator, you were doing something. Okay. So I had this black refrigerator, but that money came out of nowhere. And this is my point. Like, there will not be proof. You will not know how you are going to make it. You will not know how am I possibly going to make this happen. You don't have a network, you don't have a globe or a crystal ball to show you these things, but you have to know that you have to know that you know that you know without a shadow of a doubt that that thing is for you. Let me tell you, 2 years ago, not quite 2 years ago, probably 18, 19 months now, I was sitting in a cube. So if this were 19 months ago, I would be at a job that I didn't really like. The people were great. I mean, we were like family and I could do the job. It was software, technology, comfy, cozy job. But this was 19 months ago. This is where I would be right now. I would be in an office doing some job, wishing and hoping that one day I could leave and quit corporate America and follow my passion. Right? Now, I did do that April 21st, 2017. I decided I was no longer going to work for corporate America. I was going to follow my passion. I had no network. I didn't have a network of speaker people. I was in technology. That's all I knew. I didn't have a lot of money. Let me tell you, Vistaprint, 50% off, best friend. Um, had no idea. Starting from scratch. Faith, no proof that things will work out. But when you know that you know that you know that you are supposed to be working and moving in this direction, that's the direction you move in. And what's funny is that I can remember last summer, I had an opportunity to be on a panel with Remy Ma, a CNN analyst, the first woman, oh my gosh, her name escapes me right now, but she's the first African American director of diversity and inclusion for Google, influencers, bloggers, authors. And I'm just like, how did I get here? Like, there was no proof that these things were going to happen for me. Speaking in colleges, speaking at universities, being paid to speak, let me say that, right? No proof. But when you know, you move forward. And so that's why a lot of us are not moving forward. We want some proof. We want some signed contract from the stratosphere. You need to send on the contract and you need to tell me because I need to see some proof, right? Because if I don't see proof, I'm not taking a step. Okay. One of the reasons why you're not owning your results before you achieve them. Second, not good enough to achieve them. It's too big to do. And I don't know why. Like, I would think who am I? Like, who am I to think that I could have that? A lot of us are not pursuing our goals and owning the results. And I know a lot of times, I made a note here. I just wanted to say, I'm looking at the time, but I'm going to speak on these two things here. Grateful people can still thrive, and humble people can still be hungry. I think a lot of times we feel bad about wanting more. And I can remember wanting more, and as a child being told I should be grateful for what I have. And I think people who are limited by their own messaging and their own thoughts and their own patterns will make you feel like you're just supposed to settle in this, whatever this is for you, right? You should be happy with what you have. And that's gratefulness. I am happy with what I have. And I know you're happy with what you have. And I know if you're watching this, you're someone who has come from a mighty long way. If I could pass this on to you and you could give a testimony, I'm sure you would have me in here just filled up with where you've come from and where you are now. This is still your journey, though. So while you are grateful in this moment and from where you've come, you also know that you've been called to do bigger, better, greater things, to serve bigger, to give more, to do more, to be more, so that other people can be blessed by your works. Other people can be inspired. And that could be people, students, kids, other men, women, business owners, people in your family. Sometimes you need to be built up so that you can build up and bring up and lift up others on your journey. And so sometimes we think, though, from the messaging we get, that we're being conceited or puffed up if we want more. And then other times we just think we're just not enough. I'm just not enough to want that. something like that doesn't happen for people like me. And that's why it's so important that I speak to students, especially students and kids like me who grew up in West Philly. We weren't poor, but we didn't have money, right? It was just always mismanaged, and there was drug abuse and alcohol abuse and all kinds of crazy in the home. And so sometimes you think based on your situation, right? That I can never have that. Those are for the kids who have two parents and their parents have good jobs, right? Or you may even look at now, you may want a type of job where you are or a position, but you think I could never have that. That's only for that type of person. That's only for those types of people. And I know a lot of times we have the messaging about the good old boys club. And oh, well, that's just for them, right? But somebody's got to break that glass ceiling. Somebody's got to push through. And thank God for people every day who push through. And so you need to understand that you are enough with what you have right now, who you are, the resources, the money, even if you have a couple pennies. Listen, I write in my book. My book is, I cleaned my office this weekend, so my books are actually where they should be. But in my book, I talk about having $36 after a payday, me and my husband, and we had $36 for the two of us, gas. We needed food, and that had to last for like 6 days. And I talk about, how we were able to manage that. But my point is that we had no money when we started investing in real estate. We really had no money. It was a sacrifice. Okay. So don't think that this thing is only for the people who have money. This thing is only for the people who have resources. Oh, they're highly connected. And then sometimes we talk ourselves away from the window, right? When we're window shopping, because window shopping can inspire you because you see what's available to you. But for some people, it scares you because you're like, well, wait a minute, only people shopping in that store, they look better than me. They look like they have more money than me. You don't know what somebody has. And I believe that we don't even know how much is within us until we begin to push and realize the power we have within us. But that comes from pushing forward towards what we desire. So don't ever, ever, ever think that you're not enough because everybody who has it looks different. They act different. They speak differently than you, right? You may be called to that space because you speak differently, because you look differently, because you act differently, and they need to stir that space up. My son's school called me last year to come speak to 1,000 students because I'm not a nun, because everybody who comes to speak to the school looks a certain way, sounds a certain way, talks a certain way. But what this particular individual recognized who called me was that they need to switch it up because that look, that message, that delivery isn't hitting the students the way it needs to hit them. So because I was not a nun and I looked different and I was a little more spicy, right? They were like, could you come speak to this audience? So allow what's unique about you and different to be your gift, to be your fuel, to be your energy. But don't ever back away and compare yourself because you don't look like somebody else. All right. Why do we not own our results? I've got three more, and I'm going to go through these quickly because I want to tell you the remedies to all of these things. We're not just talking about them. I'm going to give you some action items that I want you to take away so that you can move forward and begin to own your results. Stop the window shopping, but go in, purchase, invest, and move forward, owning who you desire to be before you become that person. Okay. So, why don't we own our results? Too big a climb. Again, I can't do that. I'm not powerful enough. It looks like too much. Now, to this, I'll say this is why I talk all the time about small steps every day. I lost 15 pounds last year. Well, that sounds like a lot, but you know what sounds more attainable? 3 pounds in a month. That sounds a lot more attainable. Consistent small steps every day. I want to change the structure of my body. I need to sculpt some things. Mama's getting old. I'll be 44 on my birthday. We had to fix some stuff before it can not be fixed. Okay. And it was small steps every day. So, you could look at, I know I just started a subscription. I'm going to launch that in a couple days where I have a subscription, a coaching subscription. It's low as $13 a month, as high as $120 a month. Yeah, about $120 a month. And the whole process of putting that together, what will the subscriptions look like? You need interfaces and integrations with LMS, CRMs, you need automation, you need the for people to pay, the paying portal. All that needs to integrate. There are Facebook ads. Then I have current clientele. And when I started thinking about like, oh my God, like you become overwhelmed, right? And that can make you pull back and say, I'm not willing to invest. You look at the cost, you look at, oh, that's just way too much. I can't. But if you could break that big climb up into little pieces and just have these macro wins, even though they're small, they're still big wins along the way because every win is doing like this, right? And here's what you want. This is where you start, right? It's hard to leap, ping, right? It's hard to do that. It's a lot easier to do this. Boop, 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 boop. And every so often, as you get to a new stop, you just look back. That's where gratefulness comes from. You look back. Whew, thank you, Lord, for bringing me as far as you did. Then you keep trucking and you keep trucking until you get it, right? But some of us, we just see where we are and where we want to be in the big old gap and we run away and we don't own our results. Fear of failure and shame, right? Ooh, people will see me if I mess up. People will see me if I do the wrong thing. I'm not going to do it. Listen, you know how I feel about worrying about other people's opinions. We cannot live our lives scared and afraid that somebody's going to see us and talk about us if we mess up, if we go full in and something doesn't go right. And here's what I need you to know. You're watching this right now. I need you to understand that the people who are on a success journey, who are truly powerful and successful in their own right, they will not judge you when you fall. They will applaud you every time you fall. You something didn't work out right. The book, I'm trying to write it. I'm struggling. It's taking me forever. They won't judge you because they too understand that the success process includes falling and failure, but you should not be ashamed of that. Do you know how many times I try different payment portals or different coaching styles or different methods of, even working on myself before I found the thing that sticks? I think it's Albert Einstein says he tried 1,000 experiments. He failed 1,000 times and he got it right once. And that's the process, like science and experimentation. Let me try this. Let me put this in the test tube. Let me try this. Okay, I've got 2 parts this, 1 part this, 4 parts this. Okay, let me see if that works. Doesn't work. It wasn't failure, it was experimentation. Let me come back, try it again. Now, if there is some little goofy goofball um little committee on the side talking about that's why it didn't work, right? We're not worried about them because here's the thing I know for certain: the success journey you're on is not about people over here talking about you. And you know why they're talking about you? Because they wish they had enough courage to do what you're doing, to try different things, to okay, that didn't work, and have the resilience to get back up and try something else. And here's the other thing about that: if they were busy with their own journey, doing their own business, carrying out their own assignment, they wouldn't have time to look at you. Because if I'm filling my test tube, best believe I can't watch you fill yours. Okay. So when people are judging you or trying to make you feel bad because you're trying to learn through the process as you go, then those are not your people and you should not be concerned about them. They are merely distractions trying to shake you up a little bit, but understand that you are doing what you need to do. And if they were doing what they needed to do, they wouldn't be watching you. You ever try to make an egg or cook? You can't watch something else, right? Can't watch TV because you're trying to do what you're trying to do. So don't let the fear of failure or shame detract you. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was suspended from Hampton University. You want to talk about failure and shame? I had to come back home and face a whole lot of relatives who, you know, mm, mm, well, that's why she shouldn't have went in the first place. I had to deal with all of that. But that didn't stop me from pursuing my goals. It actually made me stronger and it made me more fierce. Like now I have to do well because I don't want that thing to ever happen again. And I didn't move. Sometimes we say, well, show your haters wrong. You don't have time to worry about them. Right? Own your results for you and for the people you were called to serve. If you have a family, a better you means a better them. Somebody looking on the sidelines, They are a non factor. They are not important. If they're not praying for you, supporting you, pushing you forward, believing in you, encouraging you, coaching you, financing your dream, being a resource, networking, connecting you, listen, let it go. Okay. And don't worry about them. And if all they can do is watch you, it means that they're not doing anything, and shame on them. All right. So, our last reason why, this one here is, it's not funny, but I do think it's the silliest. One of the reasons why we don't own our results is we're waiting for company. We're waiting for company. Hey, girl, you want to climb with me to my destiny? You going to climb with me? Until you understand that your journey is a solo journey, you're going to window shop. Okay. So understand that everybody can't come with you. And it is very scary following your dreams. I left corporate America. I was in corporate America for 21 years. It's all I really knew, like the back of my hand, because I'd done it for 2 decades. All my friends, all my networks, my colleagues, they were all there. So to step out on my own, it was very lonely being at home trying to work, not ever being used to that. And I worked from home a couple days, but I was still on the phone with my buddies from work, and I knew I'd see them the next day. It's very different being on your own. You're going to have to get used to parts of the journey where you're going to have to climb it by yourself. You can't take your best friend with you all the time. You can't look for validation and advice from the people you love, mom, dad, your friends, your coworkers, people who you would normally get advice from. So don't wait for someone else to tell you you can go and do that before you own your result. You have to know what is best for you, and you have to move forward. You're going to have to make this climb, the tough parts alone. Now, I don't mean there aren't going to be people there holding you up, girl. Here, I got your foot. I'm going to push you, right? There will be people there. That's what happened to me. And this is when it goes back to no proof. I had no proof that people will show up, or would show up the way they did, but they did out of nowhere. People showed up when I needed them. So I'm not saying you'll literally be climbing alone, but there will be decisions that you can't look for validation or people's opinions from. You're going to have to be brave enough to say, this is what I need to do for me, and go do it. Okay. Don't wait for your girlfriend to want to go to the gym. Don't wait for this one. We should write a book together. I had someone, we're going to write a book together. And they weren't obedient. And guess what I did? Wrote a book with 9 other women in a third of the time. And it's a #1 Amazon bestseller. Okay. So it's not always about doing things that are comfortable with the people you know. You're going to have to stretch yourself and trust everything around you to work in your favor as you move forward, not knowing how, not knowing when, not knowing where, but knowing that those results belong to you, and always believing that. Because the moment you stop believing that, this is, I'm going to back away from that. I'm going to walk out the mall. And that's not for you. You weren't given all your talents and gifts. You weren't given this idea that you can't shake. Like, you try to shake it, but you keep coming back to it. You try to lose weight, you stop going to the gym, you go back because you know this is something you're supposed to be doing. Right? So go do it, and don't look for validation in company, because there will be parts of the journey that just require you and only you to show up. Okay, so let me check the chat. All right, now, awesome, awesome. So now we're going to go over our 4 remedies, because I want to leave you with some good stuff. Okay, I want to leave you with some good stuff, and hopefully you found some of this helpful, and aha moments, and you feel like something spoke to your spirit. So now I want to talk about the remedies for not owning your results. So we talked about waiting for company, fear of failure and shame, too big a climb, not good enough to achieve it, and no proof. So, what are some remedies to all of that? Now, what I want you to do is just take one of these. I don't want you, when I say I want you to take one, I want you to take one thing out of these remedies I'm going to go over, and I want you to ponder on that. And I want you to think about that. And then I want you to apply it. Just one, right? Keeping it simple, not, I'm got to go try this and this or be overwhelmed, right? We talked about small steps. So, I want you to take one of these, and I want you to apply it. And if you don't know how to apply it, I want you to think about it for now. And then the answers will come to you and be revealed to you. And then if you need more support, reach out to me and I will definitely help you kind of analyze and figure out, what your next best move should be based on your own thoughts and what you're thinking about. Okay? Remedies. Number 1, faith. Faith, faith, faith. How do you move forward with no proof? Faith. How do you keep going and you don't have any money, any resources? Faith. How do you go and say, I'm going to get a house with no job? Faith. How do you invest in real estate and know nothing about it? I hope this um, lease that I got off the internet's good enough. Faith. Okay. Faith, faith, faith. Faith is knowing that things will work out when you have no proof. But you also, this is the other thing though, you also need to recognize that faith is action with no proof. Okay. So faith isn't window shopping. Ooh, ooh. Oh, look at the price tag. That's too much. Faith is I'm going to own it and then I'm going to move forward with it. I don't know how. This is so scary, but I'm trusting and believing not only in my power and my talents and my gifts, and then what I know I've been called to do, but I'm also going to trust the divine inside of me to lead the way, to guide my steps, to order my steps, and then to create an environment around me where everything begins to work in my favor, even when I don't see it, don't know it, didn't understand it. But every moment when I have a success, I look back and I realize that I was carried, that I was covered, and I didn't know how. And I didn't set that up. I didn't orchestrate that, but it happened for me anyway. I was obedient. I moved forward, and all of this happened so that I could move forward and be great and do the very thing I know I've been called to do. That is faith. How's your faith today? Do you have faith? Do you believe that if you move forward and you do the right things in faith, that you will have what it is you want to have? What's a big dream that you have? What is it that you want to do? Who do you want to be? Who do you desire to serve? Where do you want to be in the next 90 days? And is your faith strong enough to carry you through? Or will you continue to back up? Because while you see it, you're like, I don't know. It looks hard. I don't have no proof it's going to work out. Right? Where's your faith? Number 2, you're going to need some radical self-confidence. Radical self-confidence. And the reason I use radical a lot. And I use the word radical because it's got to be like extreme and it's got to be different from what's been normal for you. Okay? Faith requires radical self-confidence. Radical is relating to or affecting the fundamental nature of something. It's far reaching and thorough. And self confidence is having a good feeling about yourself and your ability to achieve things you want to achieve. Okay. It's belief in your ability. And this is why many of us window shop and then we try on for size, but we won't own it when we look at that price tag because we don't believe in our ability to really achieve that very thing. We don't believe we could leave corporate America and be successful. We don't believe we could start a side hustle and make extra money. When I started with my husband investing in real estate, we had so many people tell us, oh, real estate is such a pain in the neck. Oh, we tried that and oh, it was just so bad. Well, we're not going to let you talk us out of what we believe we have the ability to achieve. That's radical self-confidence. Sorry it didn't work out for you, right? So, and there were always groups of people, yeah, and telling all the horror stories, right? Don't let people talk you out of your dreams and your ability to move forward. Don't let people make you think you're not good enough or that you don't have the ability to achieve that very thing. Just because they couldn't and it didn't work out for them doesn't mean that what was in them that didn't work is in you. You are your own being and your own creature, and you've been given a divine assignment. What they did, or why they stopped, or why they weren't resilient enough, or why they did not have radical self confidence is not your concern. Now, if there's some wise counsel, listen. But if it's just, oh, that was too much, that was too hard, that didn't work, then you don't need to listen to them to the point that you are now questioning your own ability, backing away, or I'm going to window shop. I was thinking of buying, but no, I'm scared. No, no, no. So now you build self confidence through action and follow through. And I think it's important to know that because I'm always thinking, and I've never now, like, I think about self confidence a lot, and I'm always like, how do I tell clients, how do I tell people, how do I tell my children, how do you build self confidence? How have I built self confidence? Through consistent action and follow through. When I first started doing lives or just being on video, I was scared to death. I would start a live and then I would just stop it. I was like, oh my God, because people are going to judge me and I don't know if I can do this, but this is what I'm called to do. And why am I so fearful, right? And I was a window shopper. I want to do it. I'm watching other people do it. I'm feeling jealous. Oh, but excuses, the price is too much, excuses. Oh my gosh, no, I'm going to back away. Once I started doing them and doing more of them and more of them and more of them, I became self-confident. Now, you may look and say, this woman is terrible. She is horrible on these lives. Hey, I'm doing them anyway. I'm standing in my power. I'm owning my greatness and I'm serving and I'm in divine assignment. So, regardless of what one man or woman thinks about my divine assignment, I know that I've been called to reach somebody, and it may not be that person talking about me, and that is okay. But self confidence is having and knowing that you have the ability within you, that you can tap into power in you, and you can do anything you set your mind to. And yeah, you may be rusty at first. You've got to get some training or you have to learn how to do something better. But the bottom line is knowing that you have the ability to even go and get the help you need should be one of the reasons why you move forward and you invest and you own the results. Number three, vision. Okay, so our four remedies: faith, radical self confidence. The third one is vision, right? So you've heard me talk a lot about knowing that there's a divine assignment on my life. There's got to be. Because for years, when I sat in a cube in corporate America, I saw myself speaking and training. I saw myself doing this. Now, I didn't see myself on YouTube Live on a Tuesday calling it Ignited Tea, but I saw myself speaking life and working really hard to inspire somebody to push forward and be great or greater or get out of their own way, to get rid of that messaging that they're not good enough or they're not worthy, and to follow their dreams unapologetically. I saw myself doing it. And even though I tried to incorporate some of that at work, I saw myself doing it in a bigger way. That's vision. When you close your eyes, and I want you to close your eyes right now, and I just want you to imagine where you want to be next year at this time. January 2nd, 2020. Where do you want to be? Where would you be standing right now or sitting? What are you going to look like? What's the weather? What's your temperature? What are you wearing? How do you feel? Who's with you? Are you smiling? Are you serious? Are you on a plane? Are you in a conference room? What are you doing? Who's in your life? How do you feel? Do you feel powerful, in control, and in charge? Do you feel accomplished? What does your body look like? Are you at peace? Are you happy? Are you smiling? Are you smizing, as Tyra Banks would call it? That, that vision. You have to own that. And you have to believe that through a course of action, small steps, consistent, bold, brave, consistent action every day, that thing you see, that thing you want to have, It's yours. It's yours. And the thing about that vision is only you could see that. We both closed our eyes, but you didn't see what I saw. I didn't see what you saw, but it made you smile, didn't it? So, this is why you can't consult with other people on that climb because no one can see what you just saw. The power in what you just felt, no one can feel it. Understand and always have clarity and focus on your vision and what you know you want, what you desire to be, who you desire to be, and who you've been called to serve. And let that guide you. Let that be the strongest pull from window shopping to owning your results. And last but not least, execute with expectation. This is kind of like faith, but I just wanted to make sure you understand the importance of execution with expectation. I need you to take small steps every day. No excuses, no negotiating. Why? It's too cold. I'm a busy mom. I work. Listen, I'm busy with my job. That's my wife's responsibility. I don't have time. Right? Oh, it's just too much. It costs too much. I don't have time for all of that. Execute with expectation that your hard work will pay off. Even when you're in the valley, even when you got mud on your face, you didn't fell, you're in like what feels like quicksand, execute with expectation. Know that you're going through that mess when you're going through it because you're going to come out greater and stronger and more prepared for the next leg of the journey. Execute with expectation. Okay? But which one of those are you going to focus on this week? Will it be faith, radical self confidence, your vision, or will you execute with expectation? So that is it for our Ignited Tea today. I hope you have had a wonderful time here. I'm still lost in my vision. I am still lost in my vision, and that's going to keep a smile on my face for probably the next hour or two. And I hope that your vision and all that you've been called to do keeps a smile on your face. But it doesn't just have to be a vision, it can be your reality. Like I said, I was sitting in a cube 18 months ago. Last summer, I was in a press room doing press with Cynthia Bailey from Atlanta Housewives, um, being interviewed. Huh? um, Living my wildest dreams because of faith, execution with expectation, and making the choice to no longer window shop for my goals. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I honor you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for spending this almost an hour with me. Thank you so much. I honor you. I respect you and I appreciate you. And until next time, be motivated, be inspired, continue to be a life ignited.